Week 6 is upon us. A Thursday game has already happened. The Colts playing the Jaguars this upcoming Sunday. And for the game preview this week, we're going to start here with the injury reports. And we're going to start here with the Jaguars. We're at the top of their injury report. You see Zay Jones, wide receiver, who did not practice with a knee injury. He also did not play this past Sunday and didn't practice last week. If he doesn't practice today, then I assume he's going to be held out. And that matters coming up in this game because Zay Jones had a good game against us in week 1. So not having him there will help the defense for sure. Our defense also looks different at cornerback than it did there in game 1. But that is a big time injury for the Jaguars, who was really good for them last season, been good for them this season. If he doesn't play, that's definitely going to swing some advantage into the Colts' way. But then going forward here, they also have a cornerback, Christian Braswell, with a hamstring injury. He was limited at practice. We'll see what happens with that. A big name on here, another big name, number 33 linebacker, Devin Lloyd, limited with a thumb injury. And I assume he'll probably be able to go, right? Linebacker with a thumb injury, doesn't seem like that's really going to keep him out. But we'll definitely keep an eye on that. That's a really good player, but I expect him to play. And somebody that they brought back from the IR is Devon Hamilton. We didn't have to deal with him in week 1, but he's a very good player. If he's able to get back into the lineup Sunday, that's going to be a big deal for that defense. So that's one that we'll definitely be keeping an eye on. But with his position and with it being a back injury that he's dealing with and coming back from, it'll be interesting to see if they want to give him more, practice time and more of a ramp up in practice before they play him. But if he is able to go and he's 100% healthy, then, offensive line is going to have their hands full again. They had Jeffrey Simmons last week. Devon Hamilton is a really good defensive tackle. So if he's back in the lineup, that could definitely help the defensive line, especially in terms of stopping the run for the Jaguars. We'll talk about all the stats in a little while, but Jaguars, not great against the run. And that's kind of what the Colts do. All right, but to move forward on this injury report, they also have Walker Little and Cam Robinson, a couple offensive linemen. Walker Little did not practice with a knee injury. Cam Robinson was a full participant with an elbow injury. So it looks like they'll have Cam Robinson. That's big for them. We'll have to see about Walker Little and what happens with that injury. Then they have Dwayne Smoot on here with an Achilles, but he's a full participant in practice. This is another one of those guys that if he's there for them and he's able to play for them, then he's somebody who could be a difference maker for them. We can't just, not pay attention to him there on the defensive side. So Dwayne Smoot, Devon Hamilton look like they're going to be in the lineup for the defense. Devin Lloyd also probably going to be in the lineup for the defense. Right now, it looks like they just might be without Zay Jones, which again would definitely help out our defense, especially the young secondary it is. It would help out that defense a lot. Okay, but now we look at the Colts practice report, and the Colts might have the cleanest practice report. Like, we have some guys on IR, but you look at this tight end Mo Alley-Cox, concussion, did not practice Wednesday, but was a limited participant on Thursday. And the way the concussion protocol goes is if a player coming off of the concussion has 2 practices, then all they need to do is be cleared by the independent neurologist. So even though I think the way they've treated concussions this season, it's still fairly unlikely that Mo Alley-Cox is going to play this upcoming Sunday. If he practices again Friday, right? He was a limited participant on Thursday. If he practices again today, which I assume he probably will, there's a chance he could be activated for Sunday. Now, there's also a chance he practices and is not activated, just like Ryan Kelly. Ryan Kelly practiced twice last week, didn't practice on Friday, wasn't cleared to play on Sunday. So we'll see what happens there. But again, right now, the way they've treated concussions this season, I don't really expect Mo Alley-Cox to end up getting cleared to play. Now, next up here is going to be Braden Smith with a foot, wrist, and hip injury. All right, he's got a lot going on. He did not practice Wednesday, but was a limited participant Friday. He's been on the injury report most weeks, and he keeps playing. So it seems like, these injuries are stacking up, small things that he's dealing with. But we'll see how that affects him in game, right? You think about week 1. That was when Josh Allen for the Jaguars, the defensive end, Josh Allen, he had a really good game. He ends up with 3 sacks, even though 2 of those sacks was when AR was just on the run and was going out of bounds. Josh Allen was the one that was there to touch him as he was going out. But nevertheless, Josh Allen did have a really good game in week 1. So coming up here, gonna need Braden Smith to do his thing. All right, Bernard Raymond looks like he's going to be coming back from his concussion. He's been a full participant in both of the practices this week. Having both these guys in there against Josh Allen going to be very vital for the offensive line this week. And a couple more guys who have been full participants in practice this week is Shaquille Leonard and Kwity Paye. Having these guys come back for the defense is going to be major. I know Shaq hasn't been Shaq as of late, but I mean, still, Shaq at like 80% of himself is still better than a lot of the linebackers in the league, and I'll take that, right? Zaire Franklin's playing out of his mind. EJ Speed is playing really well. As Shaq continues to come back, I still believe Shaq will eventually be Shaq again. But missing a week, having the groin injury, that definitely is going to slow the progress down a little bit. But having Shaq back in the lineup, very good. Having Kwity back is really good, right? Dio's been playing really well. Samson Ebikam got hurt last week, and we saw Martin step in and have a really nice game. So overall, the defensive front doing their thing, but having Kwity back in there the way he was playing over those first 4 weeks, having Kwity back is going to have a massive impact. So for the most part, it looks like we could go into this game with all 5 of these guys. Maybe we're only missing Mo Alley Cox. So the injury report up to this point, very clean. Just hope that it continues to stay like this. For the most part, it's been like this for the Colts. And again, just hope that it's able to stay like that. All right, so now to get into the bit of a matchup side of this thing. And when I like to look at stats, I don't like to look at like overall yards. Like overall yards are cool and everything, but the important things that I like to look at are like yards per attempt, yards per carry, stuff like that. So when we look at both of these offenses, the Jaguars offense is averaging 6.9 yards per attempt in their passing offense, where the Colts are at 6.8. But then when you look at yards per carry for each of these offenses, the Colts are at 4.4 yards per carry, which is solid. That's one of the best in the league. Then the Jaguars are at 3.9 yards per carry, which is among the worst in the NFL. So coming into this game, when you look at it like from an efficiency standpoint, I think the Colts might be the more efficient offense coming into this one, right? The Jags have run more pass plays and more run plays than the Colts. So they're going to have more yards, right? Like the overall yards is going to go to the Jaguars. And I mean, the more rushing yards even goes to the Colts, and the Jaguars have run more times than the Colts. So coming into this one, we already know what Zach Moss did last week. Had a massive game on the ground, 165 on the ground, 195 altogether, and 2 touchdowns. And JT's been getting ramped up. He's going to be the one starting the game this upcoming Sunday. So now that we're going to have both of them, you already know we're going to come into this one expecting to run the ball. The way the offensive line has been playing with having everybody back, you would expect we're going to be okay up front. Okay, Ryan Kelly has the best pass blocking grade of any center in the league. He's the highest graded center in the NFL right now. So overall, I feel really good about the offensive line. I feel really good about that matchup and our ability coming into this game to be able to run the ball in Jacksonville. Right. And then when it comes to the defensive side of things, the Jaguars and the Colts both let up, pretty much the same yards per attempt on the defensive side of the ball. The Jaguars are at 7.2, Colts are at 7.1. Both of those numbers are 2 of the highest in the NFL. And then conversely, both these teams are allowing some of the lowest yards per carry in the NFL, where the Colts are at 3.8 and the Jaguars are at 3.7. So from the numbers, this is a little bit of a clash stylistically, right? If the Jags are good at stopping the run, then that could affect things. Now, they also played the Colts when we didn't have Zach Moss, right? We were relying on Deion Jackson, especially after Evan Hull ends up getting hurt. You're not going to play Jake Funk a bunch. So Deion Jackson gets in, fumbles twice, right? So this is going to be a different story. Now we have Zach Moss and Jonathan Taylor. The offensive line has had time to mesh. We've had time to mesh in this new system. And coming in with Gardner, like if you look at what Gardner has done this season, He has 553 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, has a 68.7% completion percentage. Like, he's playing well. He's not the most flashy quarterback, and you're not gonna get, a bunch of you can't he's not gonna give you 60-yard bombs like Anthony Richardson can. Like, we understand that's not gonna be as exciting, right? But he can run the offense. His mastery of the offense, being basically another coach on the field, being able to get everybody in the right places at the right times and putting the ball in the right place at the right time. Like, I have full trust in Gardner Minshew to be able to run Shane Steichen's offense. And I think there's an opportunity with what we've seen some of these guys growing in the pass game over these last few weeks that Gardner Minshew could have the game we hope he has, right? Like, if any time Gardner Minshew's ever going to have 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, it's going to be the game back in Jacksonville, right? Josh Downs has been stepping up. Drew Ogletree's been stepping up. Those guys get going and can help open up. Michael Pittman Jr. can start to help open up Alec Pierce. The running backs coming out of the backfield, adding some yards. Like, there's so much potential here in this offense with what we've seen and with the way the Jaguars offense is, again, giving up 7.2 yards per attempt. I think there's an opportunity for us to get things going in the pass game because the run game's so good, right? That play action pass game is going to be really important with Gardner Minshew. And the defense is going to have to respect it, or else we're going to run all day on them. Right now, on the opposite side of things, you look at Trevor Lawrence and that offense against our defense. Our defense does look different, right? On the corners in game one, it was Dallas Flowers, DJ Baker. Coming up, it's the rookies, Juju Brents and Jalen Jones. Obviously, you're going to have Kenny Moore in the slot, and Kenny Moore will play outside when there's only 2 corners on the field. But you look at what Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars did against us in week 1. Trevor Lawrence had 75% completion percentage, had 241 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, a 103.8 rating on the season. He has 67.2% completion percentage, 1,258 yards, 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So the game against us is the only game where he has more than 1 touchdown. Now, he also has one of his 2 interceptions against us. So he's definitely going to be throwing the ball downfield. There's going to be opportunities for guys to make plays at some point. If there's a time for Juju Brents to get an interception, it was going to be this upcoming week. But that's what we're really going to have to worry about, is being able to stop that passing game. We can't let Trevor Lawrence and we can't let Christian Kirk just run wild on us, right? We can't let Evan Ingram, we can't let the tight end beat us. Okay, we're good on the run stopping front. Our front 7 is crazy. Okay, I feel very good about being able to stop the Jaguars' run game. Yeah, they might pop off some decent runs. Okay, this is the NFL. That's going to happen from time to time. But overall, I expect us to be able to stop the run game. It's more about, can we stop Trevor Lawrence in that pass game? Can we stop Calvin Ridley from going crazy on us in the first half and opening up a lead? So that's really, I think, going to be one of the biggest keys in this game, is that matchup right there. The wide receivers for the Jaguars against the cornerbacks in the secondary for the Colts. Whoever wins that matchup probably has a really good chance of being able to win this game. Now, one of the other keys is going to be turnovers. That's always one of the keys to each and every game, is going to be turnovers. Whoever wins a turnover battle usually wins the game. And the Colts lost the turnover battle in week 1. But in this one, without all the fumbles that happened from Deion Jackson, right? Like, feels like it gives Colts a pretty good shot. If we're not turning the ball over, and if Trevor Lawrence is going to give us opportunities to make play on the ball, maybe we get those turnovers. So I think, honestly, I would be surprised if the Colts didn't win the turnover battle in this game. So far this season, the Colts are 3-0 when they win the turnover battle. So that's going to be key in this game, is being able to do that. And Gardner Minshew, again, making good decisions with the ball. Right? He only has 2 passing touchdowns, but he doesn't have any interceptions. Right? And as long as he's going to be taking care of the ball, like, there aren't a whole lot of guys that you worry about fumbling the ball. Like, it could happen, but I trust our guys. I think that they're going to be able to hold on to the ball, right? So when you think about interceptions, I feel more confident in our defense getting an interception than I do in the Jaguars defense getting an interception. So go ahead and give the Colts a check in the turnovers department. That's the way I'm leaning in this one for that one. And then you look at third downs. Third downs is always a big deal in terms of who's going to win the game and who's not. And the Colts, again, lost that battle to the Jaguars in week one. They also lost a fourth down battle to the Jaguars in week one. So coming up in this game, that's going to be huge. But again, with the Colts run game and with Shane Steichen's offense, all the different things that you can do, all the quick looks that can happen in his offense. Like, I feel like in week 6, with more time to practice everything and with the way the run game is, if we get in those third down situations, right, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, or shorter, I feel like we're in a position where against this particular defense, we are going to be able to convert a lot of those, right? The Jaguars run a lot of too high, a lot of that cover two. So if they're running that, then you can take advantage of that, right? There are different spots in the short field that you're able to take advantage of that. There are different ways you're able to take advantage of that defense in the run game. So I feel good about that coming into this game again because the Colts have had time to figure it out on their end, right? They're learning a new system, but now it's week 6, and the offense, for the most part, I feel like we put up 20 points in every game, if I'm not mistaken. So I feel very confident with the Colts coming into this one. The defense, I think, can lock the Jaguars offense down. Not going to lock them out completely. I don't think we'll shut them out. It's still Trevor Lawrence and a lot of playmakers on that offense. So they'll score some points. But at the end of the day, the Colts have been playing a lot of close games. This was probably going to be another close one, especially with Gardner Minshew at quarterback. I think both these offenses are going to have long, sustained drives throughout the game, which might help to keep the score down a little bit. But I think both these offenses are going to be able to get, field goal drives and touchdown drives. But at the end of it, I think the Colts are going to be able to pull this one out. And at the end of the day, I think they win this game 23-20. I think this is going to be a very exciting game down in Duval. But at the end of the day, I think the Colts come out and prove a point, right? You think about some of the Colts wins. Houston, nobody gives them credit for beating Houston, even though Houston has looked better than anybody thought. They also beat the Ravens, but the Ravens had a bunch of injuries, as if the Colts weren't dealing with their own injuries at that point. Right? And then they beat the Titans, and now it's, the Titans are cheeks, so who really cares that they beat the Titans? So coming into this one, if we're able to beat the Jaguars, right, in Duval, we haven't won in Jacksonville in so long. So being able to defeat that narrative and get people to stop talking about that and get people to start talking about how we just took first place in the AFC South by beating the team that we were tied with, right? We go up to 4-2, Jaguars go to 3-3. We take first place in the AFC South this Sunday after we get a win. That's what I think is going to happen this weekend. You let me know what you think is going to happen down in the comment section. Let me know your score prediction for this upcoming game. And hey, man, at the time of this recording, we're only 43 subscribers away from 1,000, which is a massive milestone on YouTube. And I can tell by these numbers right here of the returning viewers on this channel that we could easily get there, right? If you're somebody that comes by and watches a couple of the videos here and there, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Even if you're new to the channel, if you're enjoying the content, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Again, we're so close to 1,000 subscribers. I would love to be able to get there by the time kickoff comes at 1 o'clock on Sunday. And right now, we have about 72% of the people that come to this channel to watch content that are not subscribed. So again, if you're one of those people, especially if you're a returning viewer and you enjoy the content, please hit that subscribe button. We're so close to that 1,000 milestone. I do appreciate your help in that department. But with that, as always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.